Belize Vacation Rentals and Tours, located at 5 miles Philip Boson Highway near the Halover Bridge, is your perfect sea view getaway. Come relax in one of our beautiful air-conditioned sea view apartment, studios, sea view rooms, or suites, all with flat screen television, hot and cold bath, and unlimited access to our spacious and refreshing 40 by 16 foot pool with 6 to 4 feet depth. So you can enjoy that fun and refreshing dive or dip in the pool. We sell ice cold drinks, so you can relax and unwind on our overwater or poolside decks. Contact us at 501-615-4485, 65 or 67. Looking for the ultimate sea view getaway? Then see Belize Vacation.
There was a press release from the White House. They said they want to achieve everybody vaccinated and every country at least 70%. So they're trying to find ways to achieve their goal.
Going back to history, that's where the discrimination of cannabis came from.
Yes.
Because a lot of Mexican was bringing hemp to the U.S. They used to make cloth, plastic, clothes, even biodiesel.
They should know the metes and bounds. They should have their deeds. They should know where to get this information.
And when Nasri speaks about, that we're already behind the education system, there are some schools that they were moving in a good direction.
How can we mold boys into good men? Society in crisis.
That's the game with the road. We problem now with bloody politicians. We play that game there and think everybody fool. Tell everybody what they do. And if you get money, share it with me now. Share it. But
You think they understand?
most of them don't even know where they go on. That's the game with the road. We problem now with bloody politicians.
Society in crisis.
So they're trying to find ways to achieve their goal.
Good night, and welcome to the Zenaida Moya show. I am your host, Zenaida. Well, tonight is another Tuesday, and I can honestly tell you that the time has gone by quite quickly. And let me make sure that I turn down my phone because I don't want any problems. As usual, go ahead, share the live. I already see some people in Facebook. I see a number of people. Good night, Rachel Valderramos, good night. Des Slusher, good night. Good night, my friend. Claudette Simmons, good night. Thank you very much about loving the videos, Claudette. Thank you very much. Good night, Nancy De Paz, good night. Good night, everybody. I want to thank all those who are watching on Maximum TV, so Max TV and radio. As you very well know, Max TV and radio, they're throughout the country. So as long as you have central cable and television, you are able to see it on your Max TV. All right, so just look up Max TV or Maximum Radio and Television and you'll be able to see them. And of course, they are on all their outlets. And, so just go ahead. I want to also say that we are on the Zenaida Moya Show YouTube channel, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. All right, so again, but as usual, I normally tune in and I normally look at the comments from Facebook. Tonight we have a very important show, and the reason why, and yes, I do intend, I want to make sure that the show goes by 8 o'clock. That is why I made sure we started at 7. Again, this show, good night Orlando Polido, good night my friend Oliwin Cayo, San Ignacio. I want to say that this show is brought to you through the courtesy of Sea Breeze Vacation Rentals. So it's located at 5 miles Philip Colson Highway, a minute from Halover Bridge. So if you haven't visited, make sure you visit. If you're watching on Facebook and you haven't liked or followed the page, please go ahead and make sure you follow the Zenaida Moya Show page. If you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, or Instagram, also, I know you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. All right, I hadn't been pushing that much because I know sometimes YouTube, with what I, depending on what you discuss, sometimes they remove your video. But this is a topic that will be there, so it's fine. I want to tell you that the purpose for choosing this topic, discussing about love and relationship, modern day love and relationship, is because I feel it important with all that is happening. We have been living in a very different time, and I know that we have viewers from all different age brackets, and I know that we have, and I do watch the analytics as it regards to who watches the show, and I know that it's almost split as to men and women who watch the show. And when it comes to my personal page, I see who's the main person who's on that page, and on the Zenaida Moya Show, I see who's the main persons, right? So one is, but they're similar on both. And I want to say that I have been watching and seeing a lot going on, and we've been seeing a domestic abuse, of course. We've been seeing suicide as a result of certain, happenings behind the scene. We've been seeing a lot of single parenthood. Exactly, Rachel. Yes, Kelvin LeBron Moya Flores, he's behind the scenes, Rachel Balaramos, you are correct. And of course, Ben Ruiz and Michael Salazar, they are behind the scenes for Max TV and radio and all their different outlets. They're on MadLab and all their radio outlets and so forth. So just want to tell you that we have been looking at an escalation of a lot of negativity as it regards to relationships. And I believe that, and why you see this stack of books here is because myself, I've gone through quite a bit. But I have been studying and reading. I'm a reader. I like to research, the best time of my life is reading. Yes, that's my hobby. I love to read. I research. I like to watch educational documentaries. Yes, I do watch comedy. I like comedy. I like some horror movies. But I am somebody who's always looking to learn. And I like to watch self-help books. I read self-help books. I like to read all different books. As a matter of fact, the only books I'm not really into are romance novels. I've never been into romance novels, but I have read so much as it regards to relationships. So all the business books and all the leadership books, whatever, I'll read all of those. But when it comes to relationship, there's a stack of books, and I had more, but I didn't want to, But one of the key ones that I always feel everybody should read, and this doesn't have to do with relationship, but it is a stepping stone, all right? And yes, I'm going to get into a lot of things as regards to relationship, but critical thinking. If you understand how to reason and critically think, you will be able to do a lot. You will be able to do okay in your relationship. Another good book I had read was In a Different Voice. This is a psychological theory and women's development. Ellen Goodman says it's the most insightful book on women, men, and the differences between them. I read this when I was in Washington doing my bachelor's degree. This was one of the books that I had read there. I did do certain women's studies, and Violence Against Women was another book that I read. And of course we had case studies, all different things. This is one of them that I studied also when I was doing my bachelor's degree in Washington. But other books that I've read thereafter, this was one, From Girls to Men Growing Up, Health in Belize. This is one, and I had the boys one too, of course. This was when I was an economist in the Ministry of Economic Development. I used to have to deal with such issues as well. But this discussed a lot, domestic abuse, abuse against children, all kinds of things, women issues. I had the one for the men too, so the men issues. Of course, this was another very good book, Bringing Up Boys by Dr. James Dobson. So you go into the psychological, makeup of boys growing up to men, young boys, men, understand how they think. So I think this was very good. You're correct. Of course, on the Bible book. That's right, Claudette Simmons, the Bible book. Thank you very much, Egbert McCoy. Thank you for always loving the show. Thank you, my friend. Yes, that's right, Claudette Simmons, you're correct. The Bible has always been an anchor for me. I'm somebody who I even, make sure that my kids, they watch the Bible story. It's in cartoon form, but they watch it. Timeless Treasures, Dr. Bob Roberts. It has a lot of nice stuff in it, and it's very helpful. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change. It really goes deep down into how you think. Staying positive in a negative world. This is what a lot of us need, staying positive in a negative world. Because especially when we had those lockdowns, there was so much turmoil in people's homes, including suicide, domestic abuse, all kinds of things. 1 minute for yourself, how to manage your most valuable asset, all right? So taking care of business means taking care of yourself. Again, this was an excellent read. Dr. Spencer Johnson wrote this, 1 minute for yourself, how to manage your most valuable asset. How to improve your marriage. I remember without talking about it, how to improve your marriage without talking about it. Some of you very well know I did a stint, a very quick stint as it pertains to marriage. And then it is again, some doctors wrote this, and a lot of them are clinicians, but they're also psychologists and relationship practitioners as well. And again, marriage is love forever. Yes, I did go into marriage thinking that it would last. But I did see the writing on the wall. Some of us, that's what we want. Others, well, they had different mindset. They had different things at the time, or maybe they just weren't ready, you know. And in my case, I think that's what happened. So, but as I had told you before, I could have been one of them who probably stayed in it and accepted certain things, accepted cheating. I have never been physically abused by any man. The only man who has ever hit me was my father, and he would beat me when I did wrong, you know, lash me just like my mother. Never again, because I put certain criteria in place before I get into a relationship. I don't play around. From I see you starting to look at me and want to court me, that's it. I let you know what I will and will not accept, and of course that means, you know, I will not accept domestic abuse. I will not accept any kind of physical abuse. I will not accept, no cheating. Definitely no cheating. You understand? So certain things I will not accept, and I put it out there. You know, no, I don't have a long list. I have like 3 things on my list, and the no cheating is one of them. And of course, not hitting. You know, don't hit, because I will not accept it. You know what I'm saying? You know, of course, communication. I don't like someone, you know, again, who is lazy, because I'm not lazy. I'm like the opposite of lazy. You know, I'm very hardworking. So marriage is love forever. This was another one. Relationship rescue, of course. See? Philip McGraw, PhD. This was a very good book. I had tried this one too. But the other party needs to try. And if they don't want to, well, Gary Chapman, The Marriage You've Always Wanted. The Marriage You've Always Wanted. And The Power of Your Words, how God can bless your life through the words you speak. All right? I also have another one, Taming Your Tongue. I told you I didn't bring all of them. I would have had a stack. But this was a good one also. Smart Women, Foolish Choices, Finding the Right Men, Avoiding the Wrong Ones, by Dr. Connell Cowan and Dr. Melvin Kinder. All right? And I have lots more books, but I didn't want to bring all of them. All right? But Taming Your Tongue is definitely one maybe I should have brought to show you guys. But so with that said, I wanted to just give you an idea that I'm someone who has always made it my point to read, to analyze, to listen, to research, you know, and just always to be learning, you know, and of course where I can impart some of the knowledge that I know, I try to do so. All right, good night, Gregory Morrison, my friend, good night, all the way in California, in Los Angeles, good night. And all right, thank you, Claudette. So I wanted to tell you though that, and I won't get into, this one is very good. And from the onset, there are certain differences why men and women act a certain way, all right? But I wanted to put this out there and zero in on just certain things, and maybe for another show I'll discuss some more things, because I want to have a look. I want us to have a look into why certain things are happening. And there's definitely differences in how men think, differences, of course, in how women think, differences on how girls think, differences in how boys think. And that's why these books were very helpful. And of course, umpteenth different shows and documentaries and so forth that I've watched has helped to give me an insight into this. We understand, for example, that there are certain women, and some things mold some of them. You have the daddy's little girl, that sometimes, you know, a daddy's little girl, sometimes they will grow up and they understand there's good and bad, there's pros and cons. But it all has to do with how and to what extent that father brought up that child, right? And so let's say it's a girl, and you'll see how that impacts and moves in and impacts a relationship. That's why we see certain things happening. And I don't want to be blaming victims. You understand? I don't want to be blaming victims at all, but I want us to at least look into this particular area. And I do understand that now we have a lot of single mothers. And so in some instances you don't have any. That is little girl because there was no father. There's no father. And so I'm also going to look at the impact of that as well. Now, when it comes to daddy's little girls, there's different scenarios. You could have had a father who brought you up strong, who brought you up to know your worth, to have you understand that you're beautiful just the way you are, have you understand right from wrong. You understand that you need to work in life. Things won't just be given to you, okay? That you're not a little princess for things to just be given to you. You have to work, you have to contribute, you have to do chores at home, okay? You have to study. You have to be able to do what is necessary for you to be successful later on in life. So you have those fathers, all right, who will try to take you under their wings, almost like an apprenticeship as well, and try to ensure that you will become successful in a broad manner. Take you to church, make sure that you have your certain good values are instilled in you. And then you have the fathers who is on the other spectrum, in a quest to be a best friend, a buddy to the child, you understand? Or they overly love their child to an extent that they don't want that child to really be, upset or in any way they become a fair weather father. And they give that child everything. They buy the most expensive clothes, the most expensive tennis. They buy, they make sure everything is given to that child without that child working. You understand? That child doesn't have to work because that is little child and she gets everything. You understand? And that mindset doesn't have to work, doesn't even have to do homework. If a sibling is there, that sibling gets to do the homework. That child just has to look pretty cute and just be that is little girl. Now, what that does though, and then of course we can go into the other situation, the other scenario, whereby you have no father. So you have that girl, and I'm looking at girls right now because I'm gonna go to boys, but I just want you to see the differences. You have that girl who doesn't have a father, who any man comes around, even when she's little, she goes and she clings on to that male figure, that father figure, clings on to that father figure with the hope that, that father figure will be her father. That father figure becomes her father. All right? That's good and bad, because if it's a good man who wants the best for her, let's say, it's the other half, or the person who wants to be the partner, the partner, the spouse one day of the mother, then that's fine, all right? If he has good intention, but if he doesn't have good intention, then you know where that can go wrong, okay? That can go wrong in many different ways. That's where sometimes you delve into, child molestation, all right? Child abuse. And that child thinks it's okay because you know what? That man loves her. And when she grows up, she becomes promiscuous and she feels that it's okay because she's getting love. She doesn't understand that that's not the love that she should be getting. Agape love. She doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand it. However, you have the little princess that she grows up, goes into the world, and feel that a man will take care of her. She doesn't have to do well in school because you know what? Her pretty face, and at that time, her nice physique will take her places. So all she has to do is put on makeup, fix her hair, put on nice clothes, that's her father or her parents, for whatever, and she's fine. She doesn't have to do much. You see, she doesn't have to do much. And when she goes out and her boyfriend or her significant other must do that for her too, pay for everything for her, buy her stuff, buy her clothes, buy her jewelry, pay for her to go to the clubs, food, everything. She becomes dependent, all right? And that leads to other things. All right, I'm going to get to the other things, but I want to move on to the other child. The other child who was brought up with values to be someone that contributes, to be someone who has responsibility, who understands that she has responsibility, to understand that her beauty might fade, will fade. Her beauty, or at least physically, because she will get way older if she lives to a long life, and the concept of beauty will change. There's inner beauty, but during that stage, and even to a great extent, it's the exterior beauty, it's the outer beauty that everybody looks at. So we're looking at a child now that even though she may have exterior beauty, she understands, because she was brought up understanding and having values and responsibility through her responsible father, through the good practices that was passed on by her father, that she has to look at other things to contribute to her family, to contribute to herself, to contribute to the world, and to one day contribute to her family. She grows up with values. She understands that, she has to do well in school, for example, so she's not going to look at a teacher and think that she can bat her eye, mess with the teacher, and get good grades. That's definitely not an option. She understands she has to work. You understand? And she understands that she has to contribute, so she's not going to be asking for the most expensive, elaborate bags, dresses, clothes, hairstyles, shoes, tennis. She will be responsible to help contribute if she can. So you have 3 different women that I'll be speaking about. I spoke to you about them when they were toddlers, infants. I'm trying to move quickly, at the teenage level. And then I want to move now to the 18-year-old when they move to being an adult. Okay? We're going to use 18 as adult. Understanding now that you have now these 3 different scenarios. So let me move quickly to the one who, unfortunately, she didn't have a father growing up. She had a mother, so she had this growing up. She had a father growing up. She had a mother growing up. But she had a father who was not showing her the right way. And if that mother was not reinforcing good values on her either, and just leaving her to just, mellow away, just do what she wanted, then you see what happens. That child now will go out, and the first person she meets, she will want to be with that person physically. Okay? Physically. There's no in between. There's no okay, it's okay. Because for her, love, remember, she has moved from love from her father, giving her whatever she wanted. She moves, and even during that time, possibly had boyfriends who, gave her what she wanted as well. But she moves now to that scenario. And of course, there are certain exceptions. There will always be exceptions. But this is a normal route. This is a normal trajectory. And that child now, if The mother, listen, the big word is if, because if that girl had a mother that was reinforcing good values on her, then she will still do well. She'll still do well. But if that mother was not doing that, or that mother just left everything to the father, then that's the scenario I'm talking about. That child now is looking for a man. No, the father wasn't there. Okay, so I'm looking at that one, sorry. The father wasn't there, so it's only the mother, my bad. That child now is looking to a man, a male, for that love, for that protection, you know, just for that belonging. And that child could encounter, and I'm saying child because even though she's 18, she's still young, and she hasn't been taught well, so her mind isn't fully, you know, developed as it ought to have been developed. And so that child now, that young lady, let's call her a young lady, she goes out into the world and she tries to survive. But if she meets a man who understands her background, but choose to take advantage of that, understanding she doesn't have a father that she can go to, then that's problems. That opens up the door for domestic abuse, violence against women, all right? It opens up the door to violence against women, all right? And that's, and here is where we are. And these individuals, you know, if she's lucky and meets a man now that wants best for her, then she can steer away and he can help her to develop herself. You understand? Further school, you know, further her mental development. So there's different scenarios. All right, we're going to go back to the domestic abuse one though, because that's one of the issues that's facing us now. I wanna really zero in now to the little princess. All right, now the little princess girl that is grown up now and goes out into the world feeling entitled, feeling that what is that the world is at her level, that the world is there for her, that she can get what she wants, she can do what she wants, and everything will be okay. And that's where the problem will lie. Because while daddy would allow her to do certain things and to get away with certain things and give her certain things and treat her the way she wanted to be treated, a man necessarily might not do that, and the world will not do that. We're living in a different world. So when that young lady goes out, still wanting to look like a little princess, you understand? Looking all, her main goal is to look pretty. And in these modern times, is to have the most likes on Facebook, Instagram, you understand, if it's, you know, whatever it is, that she looks to validate her. All right? Now, if that validation, TikTok, her videos, if that validation doesn't come, depression sets in. Depression sets in. And that's a harsh reality. Because when the depression sets in, so when that young lady goes out, you know, she puts on her long eyelashes, she puts on those long nails, acrylic nails, she get that hair done, weave, or whatever she does to her hair, you know, whatever jelly, whatever she does to her hair, she really fixes up and, you know, put on whatever it is, to try to look the best that she can look, buy the most in fab clothes, chic, whatever you want to call it, glamorous clothes. And she goes out and she puts forward thinking that that is what will get her, and that is what will take her on in life. All right? So her looks, remember, she's still a princess. She still has a princess mentality. She's left home, or she doesn't necessarily have to leave home. She's just out there now. Her parents allow her. And so she starts, it's all selfies, filter. You don't even know how she looks. If she dares get a pimple, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. You understand? So even her looks, you don't really know how you look, and you can very well tell. You go right now and you look at Instagram. You go right now and you look on TikTok. You understand? Even Facebook. And you look at those young ladies or those women. Look at some of those shows, Basketball Wives. I mean, their lashes are like way here, their weave, or here they look. They don't, if they take it off, you won't even know that's a person. You definitely will not know who it is. And I've had that. I've had certain people come up to me and say, "Hi, Missy, hi, Miss Moya." I'm like, and I'm like trying, because that person doesn't look anything like how she looks on, her photos, or because it's very filtered, or her videos is extremely filtered. So you don't know. But this person goes out there and they start to get validation based on something that is unreal. It's not real. It's not real. They're not being validated on being themselves. So because they're not being themselves, they are not attracting the right persons. It's not the right persons that they're attracting. They are instead attracting individuals who don't like them. It's not them they like. It's not them they like. It's whatever they put forward. If they're shaking their butt, because a lot of the TikTok now is who can shake the most, who wears the least clothes. All right? You even see mothers joining in with daughters these days. And that's where it's moved to. And those who, and another thing, and some people may get upset with me with this, but I have to throw it out there. So when you put that falseness out there, and that false persona out there, all right, you have to understand that when you actually meet somebody who's real, it will play a role. Okay? Let me just say quickly, let me just read some of the things. Parker Smith says, "This, as always, is a rather thought-provoking discussion." Rachel Ann Balderrama says, "Needed. Both parties who have been abused on your show explain their life story." Nancy DePaz says, "I'm very grateful. My dad was always there for me. My dad taught me to be the strong woman I am today." All right, and that's true, Nancy, about the vulgarity that's happening these days, what we see play out. Rachel Ann says, "Rich children, middle children, poorly upbringing, respectable children, lifestyle and behavior has taught many they can do anything. Nobody has no say." Exactly. And now we have these individuals now that everything, because remember, there's an entitlement about them. So even if they are not doing right, so if they talk a lot of stupidness and buffoonery, you understand, and then they're out in the streets and just fighting and wearing these little, I don't know what you call it, micro shorts. I think that's what you call it, micro shorts, and they're looking all, like, I don't know what's the name. Some of them look like, I don't know, they just drag queens. I don't know if there's another word for it. They look like drag queens. because all the stuff on them, and I don't know, it's just too much. It's just too much. You can put a little eyeliner, a little eyelash, but when it's all the paint on their face and the big eyebrows that just standing up at you, and it's just too much. It's just too much. The hair that's like almost on their knees when you know their hair is not long at all. And the fakeness. So these men, and then the other thing now, it is weird that you can't tell a female, okay, you're gaining weight, it's not good for you. Because especially in certain countries, including Belize, oh, you look good, you look good, you look fat. If you look slim and in shape, oh, that's a big problem. When in fact you're healthy. I'm not talking about malnourished now. I'm talking about, in shape, just normal size, or, just thicker. I'm not talking about fat, obese, and there's different levels of obesity. And you reach all the way to the morbid obese. And you have this where some women, and you hear me talking about women, because I do want to go to the men, but I have to speak about the women because we're going to move now. I want to move later on for you to understand why some of these things are happening in the household. Now, you move now, you see some of these women not understanding that they have to take responsibility for themselves. That even include their physical, makeup. They, if they exercise, if they do work, how much they expand their minds. You understand? So you have little ditzy females, all they shake up their head, you call them like, chicken heads, little chicken heads about the place, and they have their long nails, and they're like, you understand? And everything they wear, the big thing now is people feel that, okay, everybody wants to show their belly when they're married, when they're about to have a baby. Some, they're taking it even further, and they're looking like nude, like their belly is there, and you're not seeing much like they're wearing anything. Some have taken it that far. Some, well, it's just their belly showing, but others, they've taken it far. Some are taking it for their birthday picture. They're taking nudities now. Nudities. You're not seeing them with clothes. And they feel it's okay. And they don't understand what they're attracting. And you will have those fake friends. I call them fake friends. Oh, girl, you look good. Oh, girl, you look good. Oh, yeah, diva. Oh, girl, stinging. Whatever they say. But they don't understand. But behind closed doors, they're saying, oh, look, she. Look at her. Look how she's dressed. Look what kind of picture. And they call her all kinds of names. Oh, she's looking out, or she's whatever they'll say. I'm trying to be nice here. And while that female thinking that, oh my gosh, she's doing the world, not knowing that behind closed doors, her friends, her so-called friends, and even family, they're talking negatively about her. Because they know fully well that's not what she should be doing. But they won't tell her. They'll be there, oh yeah, you look good, and hearting her stuff or liking her photo. And yes, men will look, so you'll see men engaging and yeah, heart and ooh, it look fat. I've been really here. They'll be like, oh, you look fat, oh, that thing look fat, whatever they'll say. And it's just sex. It's just sex. They're on display, they're like a piece of meat. But no decent man will want her. And even if they deal with her for a while, unfortunately, it'll just be for a while. A short while. And then you go to the so that's where we're at to a great extent. So we have those two to a great extent. But that one I just showed you, you know fully well, that's a lot of our young people, a lot of females. That's where they're at. Their parties are just different. Their parties are partying. Their parties are what is the skimpiest clothes they can wear, how much cleavage they can show, when they wear, even if they, let's say they're in carnival, just their nipples are covered in some instances, not all, please, not all. And because you have some that, they try to cover themselves to an extent. But that's where we're at right now. Morality have shifted, and a sense of morality have shifted. And you have now some girls who are brought up still, because you do have some girls who are brought up well. You have some girls who are brought up well. You understand? And for example, Patrick Menzies was recently on the show with his daughter, remember? And she's brought up in this, how I'm going to describe now. So you have fathers now, some females who are brought up well. Their parents, their father try to make sure that they have values, ensure that they continue school, they're in school, that they have a sense of responsibility. They help around the house. If there's a business, they help with their business. If they're to have, summer jobs, they have their summer jobs. They contribute to the home. All of that. Those females now, when they go out into the world, yes, those ones now will be ones that will have their heads on their shoulder, that will be able to survive in the world, succeed in the world, contribute to the world positively, be leaders. They will be the ones who will one day lead. Those ones will be the ones who will one day lead. These ones in the middle, unfortunately, will be the ones who will, I hate to say it, not all of them. Remember, there'll be some exceptions. They'll start having their children. Some will have them from their 15, 16, 17 years old, 18 years old, 19 years old, whatever it is. They'll start to have their children. Some of them will have them one after the other. Okay? Their beauty, they try with this man. And the same with the other child now who didn't have a father. And they'll try, they think it's love. And so they'll go with this partner, this man, feeling that it's love. Get pregnant, unfortunately. Have one child, sometimes have another child. A man will leave, poor thing, they want to cling to another man. You understand? They'll end up having another child at a young age. Lots of time it's very young. Then they'll have another child, and just like that, it's a cycle, it will continue. And then they become dependent. These two become dependent. These two right here, they're the one, the little princess, and the one who unfortunately, didn't grow up with a father or a mother. Because remember I told you, if there's a good, strong mother who was there, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one who the mother wasn't really looking after either. Would be that child best friend, but in the wrong manner. Sometimes, you understand, sometimes as mothers, as parents, we become best friend to our kids, but not in a good way. We forget that we have to be role models to our kids. And so we don't, we're going to clubs with them. We're wearing matching short clothes, trying to look like our child. You understand? Just to try and keep that youthfulness through our child by trying to look like that child. And we feel good about it. You understand? If it's natural, nothing. But when you go to the road whereby, you're going to nightclubs with your child and all of those things, that's a different story now. And that child is young. The values are different. All right? The values are different. And for those who may be looking at this and saying, well, that's how I hang out with my daughter, that's how I hang out. Look at it and see if it's contributing positively to your daughter, to your child. Look at it and see if that's what's happening. Because now we're looking at someone who will engage in sexual activity And if the values weren't there, that child is not abstaining. Remember, maybe that other child now will be abstaining. All right, that child will be abstaining. That child will be holding on. The one who was brought up with a good father, good parents, they will hold on. Like, slow your roll, guy. You can say hi, but that's about it. I'm focused. I want to finish my education. I want to get a good job. I want to do. I want to achieve certain things in life. I don't just want to, have you just get me pregnant. So that's that child. But these other two now, that's where the problem could happen. And you look at the difficulty because you see now that validation in these young girls, that if a man doesn't validate them and they become depressed, some of them, they want to take their lives, some of them do end up killing themselves, cutting up themselves and hanging themselves. They get a child, they can't take care of that child, they have more than one kids, 2, 3, they can't take care of those kids, they're unemployed. They end up killing themselves, they end up or abusing those kids. Yes, mothers could do that as well. And it's because, it was the very foundation that wasn't there. The very foundation the good foundation was not there for them. And they accept abuse in some instances. They will accept abuse. It's those two who will accept the abuse. The other one, more than likely, no. Because that one knows her word. And I'm not going, oh, she doesn't need a man. That's not what I'm saying. But she knows that she does not need or deserve an abusive man. So she will not tolerate it. But these other ones, one needs validation because that one wants a father figure. That one wants to cling on to a man. This next one, well, she's daddy's little girl. She's a princess and she doesn't want to work. Or she wants to work as minimally as possible. And so she will accept certain things. And the reality, unfortunately, is that men these days, not all, will abuse your weakness. And so, with that said, I want to tell you that the abuse, people taking their lives and even engaging in sex without, first of all, the best thing would be to hold off. We understand that, abstinence until marriage. We understand that. If that's not happening, however, the other one would be to use, protection. Unless you want a child, then that's fine, right? But if you don't want a child, then try to use protection. And yes, I do understand that sometimes protection doesn't work. But try to steer away from getting STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, from whoever you're going out with. Because not everybody will take it. Not everybody is strong enough to take it. And I'm not here to try and, comfort anybody. Because the first thing people want to do is, people, everybody indeed have the threshold where they can take. And if you know that you don't have the threshold to take much, then try to protect yourself. You know you don't have the threshold that you do. If you get a sexually transmitted disease, you can deal with it. If you get AIDS, you can deal with it. You know that you have to be careful. Hold off. If that person really loves you, that person will hold off. There's many different things you can do that you don't have to engage in sexual activity. There's other things. You understand? There's other things that you can do. But first of all, focus on you. Focus on your family. Focus on things that will enhance you so that when you get into a relationship, so that you attract the right person. So that you attract the right person. So that you will attract someone that, hopefully will be a life partner. And yes, I know sometimes that doesn't happen. You understand? For example, myself, I was mainly about school. I was mainly about studies. I was mainly about my work. You understand? My career, my studies. Of course, my father, my family were a big deal. So I was taking care of my father, I was taking care of my mother, my younger brother. You understand? Even my big brother, may he rest in peace, I was taking care of him. So that's how it is. So some of us, we had other priorities. We weren't out there at the nightclubs. We weren't doing those things. The money we made, it's to invest in our house, so we can own our house from a young age, our vehicle, if we want a vehicle, and just certain assets that we feel can have us live easier lives. You put in your pound of flesh, and yeah, you get out, certain interest from it, certain dividends from it. And we now understand that males have a different understanding. Males now are individuals who they're different level. And we have the bringing up boys. And I just quickly want to just say, I don't want to go do all the different boys. Maybe for another show I'll discuss that one. All right? But then there's the certain guys now that you have that they're just there to take advantage. I can't say the word here. There's a slang word for it, begins with an F. I won't say that word here. I can't say it. But you have those guys, and unfortunately, this social media is really, promulgating, is pushing forth, is propagating more of those. And a lot of guys are looking at different things in relationship. So they will be there sneaking, trying to get into your mailbox, and trying to, get in your mailbox and have one nights and whatever it is. So you have to be careful like that. You have to be careful. Put your foot down. You see, you have to be able to see that. All right. For example, I'll be upfront with you. I recently had someone who inboxed me, and I saw they're big in a relationship. Why is this person inboxing me? You understand? And so, I'm like, he wants to go with me. I'm like, excuse me? Like, I was upset. I was like not happy. I was like, excuse me? Because I found it disrespectful. You understand? I found it disrespectful. I was like, excuse me? I said, and why do you want to, first of all, he wanted to see me. I said, and why do you want to see me? And he wants to go with me. I was like, why do you want to go with me? I said, aren't you in a relationship? Oh, don't be like that. Of course I will be like that. You understand? And of course he quickly blocked me, which is beautiful. One less idiot out there, because that's wrong what he's doing. It's wrong. And so you will have those, and girls will have these. Girls will have a lot of these. But you have to be able to do the right thing and put your foot down. Don't entertain it. Don't entertain it, because they're there for one thing. They're there for one thing. And when they achieve that, then they move on to another victim. So try not to be a victim. I'm not saying if you like somebody, you won't fall for it, or you like to see somebody, but just be careful. Just be careful, because then if you're somebody who can't deal with it, let's say you go out and, because you like to see that person, and you go out with that person, and boom, that person is just for one night. And you try to look for that person, and that person doesn't want to see you again, or sometimes even blocks you after that one night there. How not all females can deal with that. They won't be able to deal with it. Especially a little princess girl. Because remember, that shouldn't happen to a little princess girl. You understand? That will devastate them. You see? That will devastate them. So we have to be very careful, and that's just one of the guys. There are certain good guys. There will definitely be some of the good guys who will be different. I'm not going to say no to that. But those, I just wanted to zero in on those, because that's what you'll see. You'll see a lot of the guys, they're liking and hearting other people's videos, especially the girls who are shaking their they're wearing, having skimpy clothes, and that's what they want. And now when they go with these females think it's love. They think it's love because females think when most females get into a relationship, they're looking for genuine love. When men when men go around you, a lot of times, it's just to, sow their royal oats and move on, you know what I'm saying? That's it. Or just for a one-nighter. They don't, and there's exceptions though, because there's good, decent, well-brought-up young men, decent men, there's definitely some of those. But to a large extent, that's what these social media is pushing. When you look into Instagram, that's why I don't really go on Instagram like that. For the show where we put it, but I'm not, no. Because all I see is sexual activity. Girls showing their ass, males, it's just sex. And it's disgusting to see that males and females, putting those things out there. That should be for your other half. You see, but that is what you see. So like Instagram, I don't. That's not my cup of tea. TikTok, what I've seen of it, it's the same thing. So I don't engage with TikTok. Facebook, I see a lot of that as well. But the only reason I'm dealing with this is because of my show and of course my business. I look at Facebook as my I always say my scrapbook. What I want to remember, I put it on my posts. That's it. You see? And occasionally, because sometimes I know, I barely post a photo of myself, so I'll be like, oh gosh, after like a few months, let me post a photo then, or sometimes I'll have friends who say, Z, aren't you gonna post an updated photo? I'm like, I'm like, okay, let me post one. But that's not me either, so like, I'll take a picture these days, I'm like one with me and Kelvin. That's just me, and I always say I might be all over the world. That's not me either. I'm not gonna post any photo of where I'm at. I have to be smart too. I don't want them to, I know all kinds of things. People know you're not at your home, you know what I'm saying? So you won't even know. So the point is that let us just be wise. And another time I'm gonna get a little bit further into the boy situation and the domestic abuse. You understand? During that time, I may bring a man here, but I wanted to get into that, but I don't want the show to be so long. So let me just read this. Rachel Balaramo says, Miss Moya, parents raise children, giving them the best upbringing in life. Friend, you keep show different lifestyle, how to survive. That's right. Children has right knowing good and bad, making decisions. Lessons taught me. Never blame your parents for your mistake you made in life, all right? And you won't blame your parents, but sometimes you have to acknowledge that had your parents instilled different values or better values in your life would have been different, okay? So while you don't want to outrightly and outwardly blame them because possibly they themselves did not get, the best mentoring, and they were brought up that way as well. They did the best under the circumstance, you see? Because parenthood doesn't come with a manual. We know that. There's not even parenthood class these days. And yes, there's parenthood class that does exist in this world, but I don't really see those things being pushed out there like that. And maybe those things have to be instilled maybe in there should be certain classes, for example. So those are not there. So parents try to do the best they can. But under the circumstance, some do understand what they went through. They do understand, for example, that they had a child when they were 14 years old. So then they need, those individuals who had a child when they're 14, 15, 16, 17, need to understand that they have to push and fight harder to ensure that their child, because now their child could be looking at them and say, hey, but you had a child when you were 14. So you see, You can't tell me anything. You had a child when you were 14, mommy. You had a child when you were 15. So those ones have to fight doubly hard to ensure that they try to guide their children to not make certain, I'll put it out there, certain mistakes. You can call it decision, but certain mistakes. Because I don't think anybody in their right mind would want to have a child at the tender age of 14 and give up their childhood, give up their freedom at such a young age. But if it happens, unfortunately, and they don't believe in abortion, then they'll have the child. And sometimes their childhood is cut short. So sometimes the mistakes that were done, it's up to that parent now to try their best to try and tell a child. But we understand that some parents will do their best and a child still does what he or she wants. Then in those cases, you're perfectly correct, Rachel, you're perfectly correct, all right? You definitely won't be able to blame the parents then. Stephanie Kwan Rosada says, Hollywood teaches our children that if they do not have a boyfriend from as young as 10 years, they are not normal. Plus, having one night stand is the norm. That's right. Aaron Cruz says, so true. And you're correct. So that's the glamorous lifestyle. And I just spoke, like, I don't really watch those shows, but like I look at certain shows and just briefly you look at it and you see what they're pushing. And so it's up to us to really look at what our kids are watching and try to steer away. All right, I don't want to talk much further. It's 8:03. I said I would finish at 8. And so I want to just thank you. There will be another show next time where I'll try to go deeper into the domestic abuse scenario, the depression. You understand? Because I think those are important, especially as it relates to these days with unemployment at a high level. So we're going to look at the economic aspect of those, and we're going to look at how we can deal with those. I always try to discuss those, okay? Remember, the show is brought to you through the courtesy of Sea Belize Vacation Rentals. We are located at 5 miles Philip Golson Highway. So give us a call at 501-615-4465, 4467, or 4485. Our website is www.sea, as in SEE, Belize, BELIZE, vacation.com. All right, we're also on YouTube. We have our different units that you can see, Sea Belize Vacation Rental on our YouTube channel. And of course, we're on Facebook at Sea Belize Vacation Rentals. Kelvin, Moya Flores, Kelvin LeBron, thank you very much. He's behind, he's dealing, with everything behind the scenes here. So I want to thank you, Kelvin. And I want to thank also Ben Ruiz, Michael Salazar at Max TV and Radio. Thank you very much for bringing this live bringing a live broadcast. Thank you very much. So with that said, I will meet you here, same place, same time, next week, Tuesday, as we discuss another very important topic. Have a wonderful and blessed good night, and stay safe. God bless you. Rachel says, thank you, Kelvin. Go ahead, Kelvin. Take it away with the Sea Belize ad.
Looking for the ultimate sea view getaway? Then Sea Belize Vacation Rentals and Tours, located at 5 miles Philip Golson Highway near the Halover Bridge, is your perfect sea view getaway. Come relax in one of our beautiful air-conditioned sea view apartment, studios, sea view rooms, or suites, all with flat screen television, hot and cold bath, and unlimited access to our spacious and refreshing 40 by 16 foot pool with 6 to 4 feet depth, so you can enjoy that fun and refreshing dive or dip in the pool. We sell ice cold drinks, so you can relax and unwind on our overwater or poolside decks. Contact us at 501-615-4485, 65 or 67.
Buying or selling land can be a daunting experience. Don't leave things to chance. When buying or selling land and lease, seek professional real estate services of Shepherd Release Real Estate. Benefit from our extensive local and international network to find your dream home or move your property from selling to sold. Our land consultancy services also include appraisals, conveyances, registrations, surveys, transfers, title searches, and preparation of all other legal documentation and land transaction processes. We are located at number 2 Corner King and Tiger Streets in Daly City. Give us a call at 614-3064 or visit us at www.shepherdreleaserealty.com. Buying or selling